one of those things where you could look at him and just go, he's the biggest fucking asshole in the world and the biggest dick, but you just love him. And that's like a super fine balance. I think we should just do a full game called CageCon. Like, I just be like, rated R, like full, like lean into it, just cross universal, just chaos. I think it'd be just awesome.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome on into Behind the Voice. I'm joined by Andrew Bowen, plays Johnny Cage in Mortal Kombat games, the recent Mortal Kombat 1. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope you're doing great. You look fantastic. The background looks fantastic. I'm in Johnny Cage's place.
This is basically my Mojo Dojo Casa house. That's the only backdrop that could possibly work, obviously. So, that had to be a must because Johnny's casa is pretty epic.
It is pretty epic. I love, actually, you know what? When I saw his house, I saw his whole thing in Mortal Kombat 1, I was like, damn, this is such a great looking place. I mean, it's so beautifully looking, and obviously he's having these, the jobs that he's doing, and I'm like, this is great. I would love to stay here. This is amazing.
Yeah, I know, exactly, right. We should do that. They should build like a Johnny's Mojo Dojo Casa house as like an Airbnb. You go and stay in it for a while. Pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's a good idea. Make a note of that in myself. That's a good idea there. Yeah, no, it did. And I'll probably say this a ton while we're talking that the artists and the creative team at NetherRealm is just like, they're so good, and they just keep on upping their game, and like they just crushed it on this one. Like, I'm like totally in their hands, and I'm like, full props, thank you, justice.
Yeah. I mean, just the first time when the game was announced, like, okay, Mortal Kombat 1, and I knew, like, obviously it's going to be sort of a reboot because of how Mortal Kombat 11 ended. And I was like, yeah. And when it first showed it, and I was like, Jesus, man, this looks incredibly awesome. Like, it looks so different. And it's so, like, I don't know what it was. I don't know what even to call it. And I cannot even grab it. Like, it is just so good. Like, when you first saw, like, okay, this is how things are going to look, or when you first saw it officially, what was your response, or what was it going through your head?
Well, I didn't get any. I mean, like, when I started doing the voiceover sessions, I got the script, so I knew what was happening, which I thought was awesome. But as far as the visuals go, gosh, I don't think I really got my first sort of, Dominic shared like some of the early renders, probably maybe a half a year ago. 9 months ago, something like that. It's a long process when you do these things. It takes years. So it was like sort of my first look at any of it. And the thing he showed me first was the opening scene, the Indiana Jones. Illinois Johnny. Illinois Johnny. And I was like, I just couldn't. And then he started showing me, like, some of the renders and stuff. And I was just like, wow, because it's just, when you have a franchise that's this big, I think it's a really bold move to, reboot. Mm-hmm. I'm sure it wasn't a decision that Ed took lightly but, I think that's also why it took a little longer to reach people, because like, they just, I don't know. It's just something, you never know. You do never know. Mm-hmm. And I know from the script it was great. But even some things like in the script, like interactions and that with characters, like, you don't really know until you finally see it, how things are going to come out. Like, I didn't know that me and Kenshi were going to have like this bromance that was just awesome. It's so good. Vic is great. And so, that was, I didn't see that when I was recording, and then like sort of I get the game and I'm like that. So yeah, when I saw it, I was just like, I was really wowed. So at that point, it just started getting like, sort of, antsy and excited to actually, get to see the whole thing. So but they really did a great job, and Dominic too, who writes and directs all the games. I've been working on these things for almost a decade, and he and I just sort of, we have so much fun with Johnny and have this great shorthand with each other, and it just, I don't know, something just gelled really nice with this one. So super cool.
Yeah, it just, everything from the look of it to the story of this game is just amazing. I feel like Johnny Cage here, and especially this one, I feel like I can relate to him in some ways, or I want to know more of him. I want to know this Johnny more. But like I know that you've been doing it since Mortal Kombat 10. Like how different was this one as compared to even the latest one, like Mortal Kombat 11? Was there any difference, or was it sort of the same?
Yeah, and I mean, like, there's a difference with all of them. I think with this one, the difference is, how do I massage the reboot while not losing the DNA that's Johnny?
Yeah.
'Cause that's important. I think no matter what universe Johnny's going to pop in from, like, I think, like, and I've said this before, like, if you say Johnny Cage, the first thing that people do is smile. Like, he's like, he's like the audience, he's like the heartbeat. And so, it was wanting to do him justice, and, really kind of leaning into where he is now, and trying to just sort of, craft him a way that he can be starting new, but you still recognizing, the guy that that's been through these journeys with him. So, and it's always super cool when you have a character that you've gotten to work with, when you get to, do something new with them, do something creative with them. And this one is just like through the roof, because, like, there's lots. And so, it was just it was a cool, fun process. And, it's and I think the identifiability of him in this one too is that, I think in the reboot they kind of made him a little bit more relevant to today. He's closer to a millennial, with his phone all the time. So I think there's things about him that we all can identify with. So we're like, oh yeah, like, 'cause that's totally what I would fucking do.
Yeah.
I would have my phone and be filming everything. So, and I think that's cool. And so, and I think it's a kind of a great, it was a great introduction with him. And again, dude, we'll get into that, but, like, he's so badass in this game too.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
So good. But, that's cool that you say that. Like, I do too. I think that, I think this is, I think there's going to be some really cool journeys ahead with Johnny. I think there should be some cool stuff with him. And I think this is really, really a great incarnation of him, even though I wouldn't be surprised if he bumps into other versions at some point,
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. The other versions are also very fun. And you know what? Speaking of something in this game, and which I really loved, is about, like, obviously he's an actor, Johnny Cage, and he's doing these movies. And as you already mentioned, Indiana Jones, and done so many references to movies as well, which is, I just didn't believe that Aliens would be one of them. And I was like, I was just screaming and just saying, "You bitch." And I was like, "This is great." And I'm like, "Oh, I knew this." And he's explaining.
I was the same way. Like, when I read it, I was like, because Dom is just, Dom and I are both, like, super, 80s, 90s pop culture nerds. Like, we just love that shit. So I think he tries to put in everything he possibly can. Yeah. Some get in and some don't, because we have to, be creative about it. But, like, some of that stuff when we came, I was like, oh my gosh, it's just, like, awesome. And I'm like, and you do so many too that you forget too, because you do so much stuff that it's really fun when you see it again cut and and in it, and it works, because that's the thing too with comedy and timing, is that, I mean, with comedy it's all about timing. I mean, and when you're sort of taking you're taking the voice, and then you're putting together with the mocap and all that stuff, and the rendering, just I think there's a lot of ways to sort of fuck that up. And they didn't, like, they're very in sync about putting that together. And it was just, that's cool. That's super dope.
Yeah, it was mind blowing with all the references and everything. And I just love, as I said, like, I love this version of Johnny Cage. Like, I feel like I immediately love the opening moment. I was like, I never expected the Indiana Jones thing to go this long. I was like, I know it's scene. I know he's shooting it. I just didn't expect it to go this long. I was like, okay, at one point it's going to end and they're going to show the set. But I was like, it's still going. And I was like, at the back of my head, I was like, is this not the movie said. Like, is this
Right.
Johnny? This is the
Yeah.
one. And then they eventually showed. I was like, okay, I knew it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I thought it was really cool because it's sort of like, I don't think because you've never really seen one of Johnny's movies. You've never really seen that before. And so I think that, they put a lot of care into that. But one of the things that I really love too is that you don't know, but when you're doing it, you try your best to sort of make sure that, what you're doing is translating. But what I loved is that as soon as that started, everybody went, "Oh, that's Johnny acting."
Yeah.
And that was awesome for me. I was like, yes, because that was like so important. You go, "Oh, it's totally Johnny, like doing a voice and doing the whole thing to it," and you're like, "Oh," because I mean, like, when it does finally cut, it's like, woo, and it's like take 17. It's just like awful. It was really cool. It was really cool. And so, I've always, I keep on touting that we should, they should put in more, more bits, more Johnny movies, clips. That would be really cool. I think people would dig that.
Absolutely. I think that would obviously help him have a much better cage con. It'd be great.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be perfect with all these movie references.
I think we should just do a full game called Cage Con. Like, I just be like, rated R, like full, like lean into it, just crazy, crossy universal, just chaos. I think it'd be just awesome. Super funny.
Super funny. I think a lot of people will line up and just take autographs of Johnny Cage. I mean, the Cage Con would be great. I'm just imagining his how Cage Con.
Where you have to like do things really quick before you die or something, There's all sorts of cool shit we can do with it. Yeah. But that'd be fun.
Yeah.
I that there was a Cage Con, like when Dominic had wrote that, I was like, oh my God, it was so funny. Like for me, like it, all the stuff that he wrote and that, sort of expanding out sort of who he was with this backstory and because it was different. That it was so cool to go, oh my gosh, he's got his own con. Like that for me was like huge. Yeah. Like, oh, I get this now. I get who this guy is because of that. So it was cool. It was cool stuff.
Yeah, I didn't expect the Cage Con stuff to happen. I was like, okay, yeah. Obviously, as an actor, is going to has these scenes because I knew like when Johnny Cage is, Johnny Cage, like he's an actor, is going to have these scenes, and I just never expected him to have a Cage Con and just shooting videos of whatever is happening and just going crazy with all these reactions and having nicknames for everybody as well, doing all the fun. I was like, this man, like he cannot be even more funnier in this game. I was like, this is insane.
Yeah, it's that's one of the funnest things has always been doing these sessions. They're just, it's one of the few jobs that I've done that's just, it's so much fun. Like I always look forward to going into the studio to record because like, Johnny is the one who's got, we have that opportunity to be creative and be funny. And so, Dom and I are always riffing and we're doing stuff and we're improv things. And it's just like how it all kind of comes together. It's just great because, Johnny is the kind of person that can fucking say anything and get away with it. I think it's just so great. It's just so great. He's just like, it's like that. Wow. Like it's like one of those things where, you could look at him and just go, he's the biggest fucking asshole in the world and the biggest dick, but you just love him. Yeah. And that's like a super fine balance that I think we've worked really hard to try to get. Cause I think that, he's got all these things that, are annoying, but for some reason he gets away with it. Cause I don't think I think it's possible because like, I don't think internally, like Johnny doesn't want to hurt anybody. Like he's not out to, make anybody feel like shit. He's just also, I think because he's sort of been in this big world, he knocks everybody down to size because he thinks that they've got the ego that he had at one point. So it's just part of, again, like it's all those pieces, that sort of are the reference points that I get to, which is so great. It's a great pie, great puzzle to dive into, there's so much we can do with it. And it's also great too, because Dom is like he's like the fucking Morpheus of the Mortal Kombat. He knows everything about all things. Yeah. So, he always, he know when it's too far or when we got to bring it up a little bit. So, it's always nice that I got that bouncing board, so we don't push too hard. Cause again, I think it's all about like that. There's a certain tone a certain tone to Johnny, and I think the goal will always be to just make sure that that tone stays there, so that no matter what, whenever people play this game, there'll always be a familiarity to it. You know, it's always I think for me, it's like you want to be, when you play Mortal Kombat, it's kind of like you're coming back to meet a friend. You know, you're meeting an old friend, and to me, like, Johnny's the guy you have the greatest experiences and memories of partying with ever in life. So, you know, when you come back, woo, all right, cool, going another venture, Johnny, let's go. You know, that's important.
Yeah, and I'm glad that he was like in sort of like the beginning part, like the beginning major part of the game. Like, okay, we start from him in some ways. Like, we start from Johnny, we go from here. But like, I know you obviously have done this for a while. Was it ever challenging for you when it comes to comedic timings, especially for Johnny? Is it ever something that you have to make sure I have to handle it in this particular way, or was it something that it was easier as you have been working on for this long?
Well, you know, I've been doing comedy like my whole life. Like, since 6th grade, like I was a class clown and I made everybody laugh. So, you know, I think that, you know, being funny and, you know, that is just, it's just sort of me. So I think that bleeds into it. And I think that, you know, I think, you know, ultimately, I think like if comedy works, if it makes you laugh, it works, you know? And so, you know, at least I've been lucky enough that when I'm doing something, especially with this game or something like that, and it does make me laugh and it makes everybody else laugh, you know, or even like the directors and the people that are in the booth, for me, I feel like, okay, that's going to translate, you know? So it's I hate saying easy because comedy is not easy. It's the fucking hardest thing to do in the world. You know, I've just been very blessed to, you know, kind of I've always had sort of a natural sort of comic timing. That I lucky. I mean, that's the reason why I think I've had such a long career. And I'm very, very happy for it. So if anything, it's sort of like going, okay, how do we push that? How do we, you know, ramp it up even more to try to really pull the stuff out of that? And you just try shit, you know, there's stuff that works and stuff that doesn't work, you know, and that's sort of the key to all of it. And, you know, when you're doing it, you know, that's what's great. That's why you have NetherRealm. That's why you have Dominic and you have this creative team, because if it doesn't work, you know, all right, we'll do it again, or we'll do another take on it until it does, you know? And so I think like, that's also like, I think we're so focused on just doing the best we possibly can with it without, you know, and also I think if you start thinking about, oh, it's gotta be funny, you're fucked.
Yeah.
I think I think with anything with a character, you gotta just be the character. You gotta let the character speak and have his point of view and be there, be present with it. And I think then you might get some good golden nuggets. And so, you know, for me, it's always, you know, and I've said this before, I think Johnny's one of my favorite characters I've ever played. You know, I think that there's a part of him, like I think I got part of him in my DNA somewhere. Thank God he doesn't really show up in real life. I probably wouldn't be married or have friends or kids. But, you know, there's just, I don't know, there's something, I think when I did X, you know, I didn't know, but like, you know, I would say that first session when we sort of got into it and started doing it, just something clicked. And we all felt, I was like, oh, okay. So like dropping into him has always been, you know, because I've been doing it for so long, it's really easy to drop into him. So it's really cool when you get this and you get that chance to go, okay, this is the newer version of it. And I was like, oh, cool, shit, you know, like what can we add, you know? And it's great when, you know, everybody's taking that time to really build up his backstory and build up who he is, so that, you know, I can go, all right, this is A, B, C, and D, you know, like the Cage Con stuff. Cause then I can go, all right, that's where he's at now. And then you just lean into it. And ultimately, you know, I think especially with Johnny, it's, you know, because so much of this game is so heavy, you know, it's really like big, giant themes. You know, so for us, it's really that freedom we have of getting to, you know, get away with more than most other characters can. It's just super fun. Like every time we do a DLC and like I hear who we're coming up with, I'm like, oh my God, I get so excited about what he's going to say or how he's going to interact with them.
Yeah.
You know, like, Dom will, when we go into those, Dom will have a bunch of stuff, and then I'll have a list of stuff, and we'll just spit out so much shit, so that they just so many options, so that, again, it's like one of those things where, okay, I think we do so many different versions and so many takes on it that you have a better chance of actually being able to pick the one that really works.
Yeah. It's crazy, as you mentioned, like with the DLC, there's so many amazing characters coming in that I never expected that Mortal Kombat can have these people, like Peacemaker and Homelander and Omni-Man. I'm like, wow. What?
Yeah, I don't think any of us did. Because I know some characters that or that we've tried to get, or we've been trying to get for years, and we've gotten some and we haven't gotten some, and some have been heartbreaking, and some have been like, wow. And just, I think something about this one, I don't know, maybe we just kind of got to a point with Mortal Kombat that has sort of become part of the cultural echelon of life. Like, it's in it. Like, it's like one of those things that sort of everybody knows. Like, everybody knows Jaws, and everybody knows Back to the Future, and I think everybody knows combat now. And I think like also, I think we started to realize that so many people, like within the industry too, play the game and are fans of the game. So it's become a point now, I think, where when they're reaching out to try to get some of these characters to come in, and these actors, I think it's becoming more of a type of thing where it's like, oh my God, this is for the actors going, yeah, I'll fucking come in and do a Mortal Kombat thing. Like, I'm in. I think, and again, that goes back to Ed and to Dominic and the creative team, that they just, I think they've taken so much care and time and effort into making this the best it can possibly be for players and audiences, that it's now resonating, and I think, and I kind of feel like they've just hit this really great rhythm now. And so, I think which is so cool when you're just kind of rebooting, because you're like, but now, like, it's such a great reboot that it's like now, you got so many places to go now in the future with this timeline. So I think, like, I think that these games are going to continue to elevate. I think MK1 is awesome, and I think whenever they do another one, they'll just keep rising it up. And again, like, I'm super honored and to be a part of it, and grateful to be in that. It's a rare thing to be a part of something that connects with so many people.
Yeah, I mean, it is. You have done such an incredible job as Cage. A lot of people are just big fans of Cage ever since MKX, ever since that, and people have just been crazy that someone like you has done such an incredible job, which is like makes that character funnier and just interesting to just listen to and be. It's just amazing. I just love it, and everybody is so happy that Andrew Bowen got to be back once again in Mortal Kombat 1.
Well, and Andrew Bowen was very happy too to be back in Mortal Kombat 1. But I mean, like, honestly, your whole goal as an actor and as an artist is to entertain people. Like, that's my job. It's not about me. It's about, lifting people up, and that's been one of the greatest gifts of this, is that it has worked, and it does make people laugh, and and that's sort of just like it's just super cool. It's very cool to have something that kind of clicks like that, and when people dig it, because if they don't, you don't have a job, and then you hate yourself for forever, because we're really good at that. We don't no one beats the shit out of ourselves better than we do. So, and again, thank you. And I'm always just like so thankful that, that people have such kind things to say, about the work. And, I think that's why I also like do my best to sort of interact with audiences and interact with fans, because like, for me, like, that's sort of my extended family, so, it's what makes me work harder, and makes me, when I say I go into the rooms and it's easy, it's not necessarily easy, but it's also like, I know who my fans are, and I know who the fans of this game are, and I'm not going to let them down. Like, no fucking way. So I'm just like, pocket that shit, Andrew, let's go. Let's drop in. Let's do it. Because that's you. And the greatest thing ever in my life is making someone laugh. Like that's my favorite thing in the world. Like there's no better feeling in the world than making someone laugh, and knowing that like that does that consistently, especially when a game like this, which is so fucking like raw and so intense. It's so you gotta have those moments that it's so great that Johnny gets to break that down. You know, and I think that's also one of the reasons that it works. I think anything like entertainment wise, you know, that has heavy themes or thrillers, horror, you know, action heavy stuff. You got to have some levity, you know, because if you're in it too much, like it's a lot, you know, it's a lot to process. You know, I think if you look at, you know, like horror movies that have been really successful, the ones that have been successful, the ones that pop some levity in there, you scare the shit out of you, and then all of a sudden, you laugh. Yeah, not like or horror laugh, but like, you know, it's authentic enough so that it allows your nervous system to reset. You know, and I think that's sort of what I see. You know, that's how I think part of Johnny's job here is to help reset. You know, reset your gauge while you're playing. You can keep on playing. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, you're right. That actually helps sets the like makes people feel a little bit better, especially after they've seen all these fatalities and all the cut downs and stuff like that. And then it comes like a little bit of an easier, like comical place, a part of Johnny. And I was like, it's easier. Now we can move along.
Yeah. That's what I do. My thing is like, it's cool. We're going to get through this. Don't worry about it. We're going to get there. It's all good. Yeah. So that's important.
Yeah, definitely. So going back to the part where we were talking about like the DLC characters, if you had like, I don't know, the full complete power to bring any character from any movie, who would you possibly bring that you would want Johnny to interact with?
Oh, man. No one's asked me that question. Like, anybody? Like, I could do anything?
Absolutely anybody.
John Wick.
Oof.
Deadpool.
Oh my God.
See, John Wick, Deadpool. I don't know if he would work. You'd have to do something unique with it. But I still think you could make it work. And again, this is just off the top of my head, but definitely like, you know, John Wick, Deadpool, and like Beetlejuice. Like that would be fucking dope. Like, can you imagine that?
Yeah.
Johnny, let's have a good time and get in there. Like the shit he would maybe do from the netherworld. I don't know. There could be some really cool shit with that. Like that. I mean, you know, if I had my wishes, those would probably be right up there in my top 3.
Oh man. Yeah. I'm just thinking about Deadpool and I'm like, the amount of things they can just say to each other. I'm just going to just be like, you just go ahead and you just continue what you guys are saying. Just keep on saying.
Yeah. Well, like that would be the same thing too. Like if we got Deadpool, I would, and we got like, and this would be like, again, we're living in the fantasy world. Ryan actually does it. Like in my mind, it would be like, because normally you do these things separately. I'd be like, no, we're going to be across from each other in the booth. Because to be able
to cross
each other, if I think of us like just like, holy crap, you could literally tangent off into its own game with what we do. You know, just with the way he improvs and I improv, like that would be a hell of a day. Like that would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be. Oh, I can't imagine how much that would be. If that would have been a thing, like, man, I feel like if there's some world sometime the Deadpool game comes along and somehow they can just bring in Johnny Cage. I'm like, hey, just have this guy. We have a little small segment, small moment with Deadpool and Johnny.
One little moment, because I kind of feel like it would be a moment where it'd be like, yeah, he can come in. He's like family, you know. Because I just feel like there would be a symbiosis with the two of them. There's some similarities there. Like you wouldn't be like, oh, I hate this guy. I'd be like, he can come. Sorry, but he can come in for a while. I'm not going to be super cool for a little bit, but we got to do this.
Oh man, that would be hilarious. That would be really that'd be amazing. But yeah, as you mentioned, like with interactions, all that stuff, and we can always imagine. But the interaction between Johnny and Kenshi is something that, as you mentioned, you never expected. I never expected, and I remember that scene very well where he was just giving back his sword, like, okay, here it is. Just take it. I felt like, what? I was like, I never expected to feel different. I was like feeling very differently, and I was like, wow, this is so good, so such a good heart man Johnny is.
Yeah,
Right
well, I
there.
mean, I think that again, like that goes to what I've always think is a baseline of Johnny is he's a good guy, he's a hero.
Yeah.
At his core, he's a hero. He's maybe cocky and an asshole and all that other shit, but like in his core, he's a hero.
Yeah.
But I think also like you have to sort of prove yourself. Like, I think there's a very few people that he allows into his world, his private world.
Yeah.
For some reason, again, I didn't even expect this to happen. That Kenshi ended up being like that thing. It's great. Like I'm ready to fucking see them in like a Lethal Weapon movie together. Like just let's do it,
Yeah.
But it's really cool. And like, and I think like it's cool because like, and again, like when you're recording, because we don't necessarily see each other and you don't know when you're recording stuff, how it's gonna sync. But then the way that it did and the way that it did, because again, I think, again, props to Vic, he's full heart. He's a great guy. And he does such a great job. And I just think just something, again, like I think we had a dinner like a week ago or two ago, and Dominic kind of invited everybody from the game to come in. And, they were asking him like, because you write this stuff, like, what has been one of the biggest surprises that you've seen? And that was one of the first things he said. He's like, I was not expecting the Johnny Kenshi thing to take off. It did. And I think that's the stuff that are the cool surprises. Those are the things that you don't expect, which is just so great because like, oh, wow, it just opens up other creative ideas and places to go. So and it is, it's like there's heart there, there's genuine heart there. So I dig it. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I just love that genuine care. Initially when he was not like, I'm not gonna give you that sword, you have to give me 3 million. And I was like, oh, of course, that's Johnny. And then when things change, and then I was like, oh, that's so cool. Like he wants to help him. He wants to make sure that he's safe. He wants to make sure that he is healed. And I was like, this is romance that I wanted. I never thought I wanted, but it's here.
Never thought I wanted either, but I'm like, dude, this is the romance we needed. I think epic, like movie, TV, like there's been bromances fucking forever.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they're now dropping into that echelon, which is like super cool. It's cool stuff. And I think it also, because he's the first interaction that Johnny has with this world, and him coming in and just like cause not knowing if it's, a farce or it's real. And so I think I think because of that, and because of everybody else being, super powered fucking demigods and shit. At least he's like, well, I know that. At least I know kind of what comes through that system. So I'll stick with this cat, And I thought that was really kind of cool too with this game that, Johnny doesn't have powers, he doesn't have his stuff that he had before, but which I find, again, love the guys at NetherRealm that they didn't make him weaker because of it. It actually made him a better fighter. Like he is so good in this game. He's just like, he's never fought as good as he does in this game. Like it's just like, wow, you get it too, and that's always the thing. Like I always play with him is like, I think he can get away with saying the stuff he has because he knows if it does trigger somebody, all right, well, I'm gonna have to kick your ass because he knows he can kick anybody's ass. And this game, you finally really see this. You go, oh yeah, okay. Johnny really is like, he is a badass fighter. Fighter.
He knows his stuff. Yeah, he absolutely. He knows his stuff. He knows how to easily handle himself, and he knows how to kick someone's ass. And it's like, love it. Absolutely cool.
And he's also got like his, I think like some of his sarcasm and his taunts. I think that's part of the way he fights because he knows he gets into people's heads.
Yeah.
And gets him frustrated. He's like, cool, pop, 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 and I can take you out with that. So, but it was really cool. Like, cause that was one of the things like, how do you compete, in a universe like this where people have such amazing powers? And the fucking the creatives did it. It's wicked. It's super cool. Like, I'm just like, yes.
How much were you kind of involved in those kind of recording those taunts? Because there's some lot of taunts, him giving nicknames to everybody else,
Yeah.
and so it's just lovely to listen to, especially with Kitana. And just loves Kitana, and just doesn't really say it in a bad way. We just loves her. So, but yeah, I just everybody else like, what? How much kind of like were you involved in those things? Was it something that was always mentioned? Like, okay, this is how he's gonna say it, or were you being involved?
It's always written out. Like Dominic writes everything. So like what he'll do is, he'll write it and he'll sort of send it to me and I'll read through it. And then sometimes I'll make notes if I have something. And then a lot of times just on the day, once we get what's there or we've massaged it to, how it'll work, which is I love about Dominic and doing this process with him is he's always been so open and so collaborative to just be like, yeah, dude, riff it. So, it ends up being like this combo of stuff that's there, and then what we make on the day, and what we just pop off the top of the head. And I think one of them that I know for sure was a riff, just an improv, from back in the day in X was when he was fighting the Xenomorph.
Oh.
And Johnny says, your head looks like a dildo. That was just a riff. That was a riff off the top of my head. But that's also sort of why, doing comedy and doing improv, that's part of how you do it. You get there and you shoot and you do everything that's on the page. And then ideally you have somebody who's like, okay, just let it rip, see what happens. And just be able to just sort of drop into that. And like, sometimes you just get great stuff. So, and Dominic is, Dominic he's going to take what works best, which is awesome, And so again, I think it's always been an Andrew Dom combo. Like you're going to get some good shit,
And it works. So,
there's been some taunts that, cause I remember too on this one, because it was when they face off now, they're a lot closer.
Yeah.
And we hadn't been that close before. And I was like, like that made my brain go. So I think the one where I think I said at some point, like, whew, like you've got bad breath. Like I did a lot of that stuff where I was like, okay, I just think it'd be funny because he's so close. And I think that's again with the stuff with the Katana, he's like, oh, he's close. He's like, hey, this is an intimate moment. What's going on? Hey? You're like delicious. Like he has zero, and because like he's sort of, more or less, a single bachelor in this one. He's he definitely does not care.
Absolutely.
If someone or not, like if they're hot, like he's gonna go for it. So, eventually, hopefully someday he'll find love again. I don't know.
I don't know.
I might make a pretty scorching couple.
yeah. You never know what's gonna happen. But like one of the there's a lot of things, a lot of animations in this, obviously in the game, which is like, and one of the things that obviously I like is when he gets hit. I think it's either right before any match starts is if Johnny gets hit and his glasses gets a little broken, takes it off and puts it in and just does this. So was that something that you guys recorded, like as in motion capture? Or was that something that somebody else does it?
No, that was something that was that the animation team came up with. That was just something that the guys did. Cause I think like, I feel like, again, like Johnny's sort of like the audience. He's like, the levity in it. And so I think like also at NetherRealm and the creative team, I think there's a lot of love there with the artists and the animators there for Johnny.
Yeah.
So I think like, because we've set this tone, I think there's more freedom now to be able to go, oh, we could try this or we could try that and you can get away with it. So, I mean, like, no, when I saw it, I was like, yeah, that's awesome. I mean, believe me, they've definitely heard in takes enough, colorful metaphors, swear words from me, which would be great of the CageCon game is you can finally let Johnny just say fuck a lot.
Oh, yeah.
But that's always sort of been there. And so just sort of like, how do we get that in without actually saying it? And I think like him doing that, I was like, dude, money.
Perfect. Great. Yeah. It was like
the gaming that they added that you have this hype meter on it.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's just so cool because like, it's just great. It's just, it just makes him funner. It makes him funner to play. And I think like whenever, I think if you're playing video games ultimately, and you're a gamer, you're doing it because you want to get a break from it all, and you want to kind of let it go and go have a good time. And even if you're, Call of Dutying it, so, I think like, it's cool that we've added elements that make Johnny even more of a fun experience to jump in there, because sort of, it really is one of the things where every time you're going to get something a little different, if you're playing around with that. And I think like that hype meter is like, yes, like it was great. It was just other great layers that they've added to the character that just sort of just, amp them out and build them up to, maybe being the leading hero someday.
Oh yeah.
I think it was cool too that he's just like, he doesn't need to be in front. It's almost like he's proved it. Like, I'm the shit. So, you can do the thing. Not that he wouldn't, be called into action whenever asked. But, I think he's got a lot more respect for like recognizing talent around him. It's like sort of like a little bit of a change of it's just, not just about him, but more about, what is this? How can I can push myself creatively? I love like was one of the theme lines of Johnny. Like, okay, I want to get better. Like I want to be the type of guy that Spielberg doesn't roll his eyes when I ask him. Take me seriously. I got good ideas. So I thought that was cool.
I love that. Those moments I was like, man, this character is so like, I know this is Johnny, but I also know like his different, and I love it. And I was just like, I love everything. The whole part that Johnny played in story mode, especially in this game, is just like so wonderful. But did you ever get the chance to actually play the game?
Yes, I haven't played it a lot, but like I've because again, like there are some people that are super fans and have way more free time than I do, but like, putting the animatics up on YouTube and like, cause you do it for so long that kind of, you forget lots of stuff.
Yeah.
And then, so getting a chance to do that and see that. And then, I haven't done a lot of playing, but a little bit, cause I figure, I'm not the best gamer in the world. I'll admit it. I'm better at other things in gaming, but I figure, if I eventually going to jump on Twitch and, interact with people, and I gotta play Johnny. So I got to at least learn some of it, or maybe just be shitty. And if I win, I'll be like, I don't even know how to play. And I just beat you. Boom. We'll see. It'd be fun.
Oh man.
But I have to get a chance. And usually when I've played, because I don't really, and it's just part of the business and the career stuff is that, I don't have tons of free time to just, go game all day. And with my ADD, that's it. I'd be gone for 2 days. So a lot of times is when I'm showing up at a friend's house or, showing up somewhere and it's there and it's on, I'm like, jump in and start playing. So yeah, it's cool.
I have played the game and I'm not good at fighting. I'm not good. I don't know. I cannot.
You and I should play together. Then anytime we won, we'd be like, yeah,
we did something
totally random.
I cannot do the moves well, and that's why I'm like, I think I'm just gonna stick with the story mode, because at least I can pick an easy mode and go with that. Because if I go online, there is no easy mode, so it's gonna be bad.
And the people online are like, they're fucking Jedis and shit. Like they will mess you up. Like, they're good. So, that's why I'm like, I think the only way to really do it is to just, with the Twitch thing, is just go out there and say, yeah, here's Johnny. You want to play? If I beat you, it's total luck, and he's just gonna suck for you, and I'm just gonna gloat. But most likely you're just gonna beat the crap out of me for the next, hour or two. And I'm fine with that. Yeah.
There was a point when I was like, okay, maybe I should just try once online. And I was going to, and I was like, what am I thinking? And I went back to the single player. I was like, I'm just good here. It's better to stay off here. It's good.
That's what is really cool. The combo stuff where you can bring in,
Oh yeah.
That's a really cool little piece that they added in that I thought was great. And, cause that's just sort of also gives you so many options because, everybody's going to give you something a little different, which again is always that, and then eventually if you're the gamer, you're going to go, I'm going to pick this guy every time. I know he can do damage, but I'm at least I'm happy that, at least in this game, if you do pick Johnny, you have a really good chance of beating who you're fighting, because he's got some good moves,
Absolutely,
including his signature, nut crunch.
Nut crunch, yeah.
Nut punching.
You never miss that. You can never miss that. That's something that needs to be there. But like, I know, like, we had Mortal Kombat movie. Now we have a second movie coming up, and Karl Urban is playing Johnny Cage. What are your thoughts on him? Like about him playing that character?
I think he's a great choice. I've been a fan of Karl for years. I think he's I think that to pull Johnny off, you have to innately have a sense of comedy and a sense of timing. And Karl's got that, and if people don't know, like, watch The Boys, watch the Star Trek movies playing, Bones. Like, he's got it. He's got that comedy chop. So, I wish him the best of luck. I hope he kills it. And I think that I'm hoping he's just not thinking about the pressure of it and just going, let me lock in, find this guy and do my interpretation of him. I think it'll be great. So I wish him the best of luck.
I'm excited. I'm looking forward to see what happens to Mortal Kombat 2, because I know the Mortal Kombat first movie, a lot of people are excited for it, and it looked pretty good and everything was great. And even though me personally, I think I still love obviously the games. The movies were not as much as good as I wanted it to be. Probably the animated stuff was a little bit better. But like, I know that with Johnny Cage being there, at least I feel like there will be more, I don't know, character that I felt like Mortal Kombat 1 was missing, at least the movie.
But I also think, like, to a degree, like, Johnny's the type of character that takes up all the energy in a room.
Exactly.
He's a big presence. And I think that I think that it was probably a smart call to not bring him in on the first one. And allow themselves to establish somebody new, to grow within that universe. Because now you have a chance that something is established that you're going to bring in again, some of these bigger characters that I think that'll probably happen. At least that's what I hope will happen, is, we'll see more of that character stuff. Cause that's, I think that's really, ultimately that's what drives any entertainment, it doesn't matter how cool it looks or anything else like that. If you don't give a crap about the characters, like, you're not there, So, and the people that have done that, have been the ones that be successful. So, I hope so. And again, it's big shoes to fill, even when you're filming a movie like that, there's a lot of different voices there and cooks in the oven. So I think the fact that, they were able to make it as good as it was is props. Because again, you go so many places with this, so my hope is that they just amp it up again, another notch, and make it richer so that, they can keep doing it, and then who knows, maybe someday they'll have they'll crack open the multiverse and, we'll have some other Johnnies come through. I would, again, like what I said, like with Ryan Reynolds, like, I think about being with Karl and being two Johnnies in a room and just fucking riffing from our different universes. Great. Like, you could just watch that for hours, and that would be so much fun to do. Cause I just know that he's also the type of person that, has those improv chops, and, he's going to come in and, lay down.
Absolutely.
Lay down. Cool. So you never know. I'd be down.
I'll be down to just watch it. Like, it's just going to be super fun. As you mentioned, like, listening to you guys just like going back and forth. And I'm like, this is great. Let's just do that. I just don't need to, no need to fight.
Right.
Just keep on going.
Exactly.
That'd be great. But, like, if you take a chance to like look back at whatever you have done so far in video games itself, as far as acting is concerned, what do you think about your journey so far as an actor? Like, after doing this stuff for all these years, what do you think? What has your journey been like?
Oh, well, it's been pretty good. I could complain, but I could not complain. Like, I feel like, I've gotten the roles throughout my life that were the right roles for me, that have really allowed me to stick my teeth into. And that's been awesome. And I love that. And I think that it's really fun when you get a chance to kind of connect and sort of meld with a character. It's really cool when you kind of can take some level of ownership of who somebody is, because you put in the work. So again, I'm proud of a lot of it. Johnny's definitely way up there. It's also, I think, doing this and being an actor, it's it's an ever evolving process, because you're always learning. At least that for me, I just want to keep on learning and doing something new, because as soon as it gets stale, you're going to suck.
Yeah.
So, I look at it as like, I'm kind of excited on the possibilities. I'm proud of the career I've had so far, and I think that I'm looking forward to continuing to stick my teeth into characters as we go, and hopefully continue to get some stuff right and make people laugh. Again, that's again, for me, like I said before, there's nothing better in the world than making somebody laugh. So every time I get to do that, and in a space that's open and allows for that collaborative, fun run, I'm there. So as long as they'll keep hiring me, I'm gonna stick around.
Absolutely. I don't think so. Johnny Cage belongs to someone. I really feel like in Johnny Cage, it should be you. Like, you should be the one continuing this character, because I feel like without you, it's gonna. I don't know. I feel like it's gonna suck. Yeah, it's not gonna be Johnny. It's gonna lose that flair of Johnny without Andrew.
Right. Hey, if they allow me to, I'll play Johnny until I croak. I'm happy to do that. So, and I think as long as there continues to be fans out there and people that are making their voices heard and celebrating it, I think I'll get to continue doing that, and that would be really awesome.
That's lovely. I would love to see more of that. Is there a piece of advice that you would like to give to anybody who is currently pursuing acting or trying to be as an actor in video games right now? Do you have like a piece of advice that you think like, oh, these people really need to know?
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. If you've decided to be an artist, you're wired differently than everybody else. Sorry, there's nothing you can do about it. You can run away from it all you want in life. It's going to suck you back. So you might as well just lean into it. Yeah. But also I think like I always tell people that in whatever this world is now and this, life that, we're in, there'll only be one of you ever in the history of time. This version of you once ever in the fucking history of the universe. So be you. Like, I always tell people, like, don't try to be what you think they want, especially as an actor when you're going in, which is hard because you're like, oh, I think this is the guy. Yeah. Make a choice on who you think that guy is or that girl is, and just commit to it. You may be right. You may be wrong. Again, you get more no's than you're ever going to get yeses. But, I always say, like, if you're going to be an artist, do what makes you feel good. Do what jazzes you. Because I think, like, as a creative, if you're making something, you're a director or producer, when you're coming in as an actor, I always say, like, kind of look at it as like a paint board. There's a bunch of different colors of paint. And I think the producers and the directors are not quite sure what color paint they want. So pick a color, pick your color and bring that color in. Because ultimately, if you do that and you get the job, you're going to have so much of a better time because you're not going to be trying to figure out, oh, am I doing it the way I think that they need it? Instead of you going, oh, cool, I made this choice. Like, this is how I'd play it. And they like that. Well, then you just get to, excel with it and really like dive in. So, I would just say, there is no competition. There's no competition out there. There's just you. So just show up and keep showing up and be consistent. And you'll have a shot. Everybody has a shot. So just be you. Because again, like, why not? You only got one chance to, so fuck it. I would hate to be like having my last day, which we don't know what it is going to be. And, and go off to whatever the next plane is and be like, oh my God, I spent that day just bitching about shit and pissing and moaning. Like, why? Like, why? No, I think like, I try to spend your days just living as much as you can. And it's hard. I get it. Like the pressures of the world, like it's tough, but the only thing we do have control over is our thoughts and how we think about it. So, you can choose to not let it affect you and not let something bother you and just go, yeah, all right, this is good. It's fine. And you bounce it out because, I would rather know like when I go out, like, oh, wow, that was such a fucking great day that I had my last day. It was like, that was the bomb,
Yeah.
So I went out on a high note. So that's like why I always say, like, just, suck it in and experience this and just go for it. Cause you're here, everybody's got a purpose and everybody's worth it. And, especially if you're going into it, just keep on reminding yourself that you're worth it and you get it, and then, that's all the universe does. They don't understand like the future and the past. It's all present. So don't say, oh, I hope that this happens. Just be like, oh, this happens. Like, what does this feel if this has already happened,
Yeah.
And then it'll put you in that, that mojo space where the universe goes, okay, well, we're just going to fucking send it to you. So, try to keep your head up as much as you can. And I think like that's for me, I think that's the biggest honor of playing this character is to know that if people are having a shitty day or having a shitty week and they go in and they play the game, they're most likely going to finish with a smile on their face. Maybe it just took a little bit of the edge off for the day. Like if I can do that, my job is done, So
I think you're right. I think one of the things that I feel like I've learned now is like, you gotta, if you have something that you want to do, you just have to jump in and do it. Otherwise you don't want to feel that regret later on that you had the chance, but you didn't do it because of some other things in your head saying that, oh, what if you fail and stuff like that. So I think that's very important to just I've just got to go and try it once. At least you tried and you figured it out. You saw the results. You did it instead of not doing it.
The only way you can guarantee that you'll fail, there's only one guarantee that you'll fail is if you don't try.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. You'll fail. Won't happen. That's it. That's the only consistent in the universe. So just fucking try. I mean, because the thing is too, is like, it's not always the destination. It's the stuff that happens along the way. That really is what our life is, because if you think about just only that one set goal, you're going to get there and be like, well, now what?
Yeah.
It's all the stuff that gets you there along the way. So, again, I think that, just do it. Give it a shot. You never know. It might really work out awesomely. I mean, just like what you told me, like, oh, I want to do this. And I started and now like you've done all these podcasts and you're getting people in and you're growing and you're good at this. It's like, it wouldn't happen if you went, oh, I wonder if I fail. Well, shit, then I would have never got to have this like just awesome chat today, like you're good at this. So, everybody's got it. Just give it a shot, because you might be doing something and say, oh, this is what I want to do. And then like during that process, you might go, oh, I that's not really what I want, but ooh, this was cool.
Yeah.
And you tangent and you'll get to where you need to go. There's a, timing, the universe, God, that they have the right timing.
The one last thing before we just wrap this up, and is just like, I'm just want to ask you 5 random questions, absolutely random. And it's just going to be very simple and very basic. And we're going to end things with that. So the first thing that I want to ask you is like, is there a song that you always listen to and that you never get bored of and that you like always go back to?
Wow. That's a good question, Abhi. That's tough because like, it's like saying what's your favorite movie of all time?
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I think it would be neck and neck. Like there's so many songs out there, but I think it's impossible for me to not play Freedom by George Michael and not be put in a good mood. Like that's just a fucking great song. It really is. You're like, it moves you, it just clicks. Like, he was, George Michael was really the Elvis of his generation. That's one of the ones that I'll never turn off. And then if I ever just need to sort of get myself up, Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, Good Vibrations makes me laugh. It just makes me laugh. It's so extra and just too much and wrong and great at the same time. So, and again, like for me, like, again, like, because that's what I feel like my purpose is to, is here to give people a good time. That's what I want around me. So like, if I pick about music, there are times when I want to dive deep and like, whoa, sink into something. Yeah. But most of the time I want to just pop myself up a bit. And I think like, I think both of those would definitely be in there. And then like somebody's going to comment a great song and I'd be like, fuck yeah, that was a song. That's oh my God, damn it.
Yeah. Yeah, it keeps on changing because as I said, there's so many songs. It's very hard to pick one or two. And I know that's like an unfair question to really ask. Like, oh, what is that one song? Like, I mean, I thought, because there's always people having those like X number of songs. Like, okay, if something's not going so well, I know this song I'll just listen to and I'll feel a little better. Like I'll go back into that track.
Well, that's what's so cool about music is they do become sort of our emotional, kind of photo album of life. You can hear a song and you go, oh shit, it brings you right back to where you heard it in that moment of time. So, that's again, another reason why I have like props for musicians and stuff like that. Because, again, artists, they're just writing these songs for them. They're like, they're writing these songs that I dig this. I would want to listen to this. And then, then we get the joy of going, oh my gosh, thank you for writing that. Cause it's so pocketed for me. So yeah, for sure.
Beautiful. Yeah. The next question is like, is there a movie that, and I know this is probably going to be an unfair one, but like, is there a movie that you would always recommend people to watch, or something like, okay, if you haven't watched this, you must.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go to 2 again because I'd probably go to 3, but and again, like there's a lot. There's so many movies out there, and there's so many movies I've watched and just enjoy. But I think Back to the Future is as close as you'll ever get to a perfect movie.
Absolutely.
That's lightning in a bottle. It's lightning in a bottle. And it doesn't matter how many times you've fucking seen it. I used to work at a video store when I was a kid. I remember, you'd put in movies to play every once in a while. And I remember the day that I popped in Back to the Future, and like by the time it was finished, there was 2 people in the store, and they were like 16 by the end, and they were all just hanging out watching because it sucks you in because it's like it's so good. So I mean, that would be, if I had to go one, that I would say that's the one that you can't go wrong with. I mean, Aliens, James Cameron's Aliens would be a very close second, but also a very different kind of movie. Like they're 2 very different animals.
Way different, yeah.
Both awesome in their own way. But as far as like close to perfection as you can get, at this point, Back to the Future for sure.
I completely agree with you. Back to the Future till this day, it's probably, I don't know how they did it, but it did it in such a great way. It's like,
there's a documentary Michael Fox released recently. I think it's on some channel. It's a biography by him about his life. You got to watch it.
Oh man,
it is so cool because the way it's done, I've never seen this before. It's almost more like a movie, like with real footage. Ooh. And it goes into that period of time when he was making that. It's insanity. Wow. It's insane. Like, wow, how did he possibly know that was gonna happen with this? Because he would go to Family Ties and work all day and then sleep in the car and then shoot all night Back to the Future and then go back to the set. Like he was just on the whole time. And at that one point he was like, I didn't even know what was going on. But like the results of that were great. Cause again, like, I don't think he had the time to get in his own way. He just do it, and that's again, life, just fucking do it,
Absolutely. Yeah, man, that's insane.
It's a great documentary. It's Me or Mine or something. You'll know if you just go back to Michael J. Fox documentary. Everybody watch it. It's fantastic. It's not like a documentary. You're like, oh, you're
Yeah.
bored. It's really good. It's like awesome.
I'll definitely take a look. I'll definitely take a look where it is. If you had the opportunity to make a video game yourself, do you have any idea like what would it be like, or what would it be about?
CageCon.
It had to
Done.
be.
CageCon. That would be a game.
Oh,
And I'm
man.
not even sure what the storyline is, but like just saying that, like there's a billion ideas. There's a billion like that would be fun. That would be fun. That's what I would make a CageCon game.
That would
really
be
immersive,
beautiful.
like, crazy balls to the wall, just like nuts shit that have it just be like one of those stories, or it's just like one of those crazy days, and when it ends, like literally you save the world, but no one will know.
Oh yes, I get it.
Yeah. Well, that was a fun day. I'm gonna go get some sleep.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Yeah. I would do a cage.
Wow, that would be wonderful to play, to be honest. Yeah. If you could travel back in time, where would you want to go?
Well, nowhere prior to the introduction of penicillin. I just wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But geez. Where would I go? I think it'd be really cool if I could jump back for a day, and maybe sometime late 60s, and
Wow.
to see just to go to a Led Zeppelin concert.
Yeah.
That would be go back one day to them at their prime, going to a Zeppelin show, and everything that would happen along the way and afterwards. Like that would be a cool place to visit. That I would take. Yeah.
Wow. Cool. That would be a wonderful day. Yeah, man. All right. So the final question is, have you ever encountered supernatural ghosts?
Oh my gosh, I was making a joke. Ghosts.
Ghosts.
That's really funny. I was like, ghosts? You ever run into ghosts? Yeah, every day. Like I just don't tell people that, but like they're bothersome. Like
they're just standing right next to me here, just watching. It's fine.
Shut up. Right? I'm trying to have a conversation here. Have I ever had? I've had moments. I've definitely had moments. I think we all have. I've never seen a ghost. At least I don't think I've ever seen a ghost. Well, yeah, maybe. This is fucking freaky as shit. So when I got married with my wife's from Louisiana, and so we went down to New Orleans, and we originally had like, we were broke at the time, and we just had our friends come in. Again, like, just if you're gonna do it, don't worry about being perfect. It's one day. Just get your friends together, and it's what happens. Already for 5 days. But we had got to a this hotel that was in New Orleans, and we were told that there's ghosts there, like just to know that there's some ghosts there, and they tend to be a little bit mischievous. Mm-hmm. And we were like, okay, because I am sort of like, I would flip out if I saw a fucking spaceship, which is why I'm never going to see a spaceship. But we went in, and at one point while we were getting ready, and this was the day before the day of the rehearsal dinner, I was going into the bathroom to get ready, and my wife was there, and we were getting ready, and we had a brief conversation about getting ready to go. And then I walked out of the bathroom, like literally into the next room, into my wife. And I was like, where did you just come from? She says, what do you mean? I just came from the couch to go get changed. It's like, she was not in the bathroom. So I had a full conversation with my wife, just and then walked out of the room into her, which means that whoever I was talking to was not my wife. So that's my one moment. And then I think one of my other friends, like their wallet or keys got stolen with a giggle. But after that happened, we were just like, yeah, we're going to move. We're going to go to a different place. Everybody was like, yeah, we're cool. And we just went to them like, yeah, no, we're out. Like I always say, like, that's the true horror movie. Somebody walks into a house and it goes, get out. You're like, fuck, dude.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to listen to you.
I'm not sticking around. No, thank you. Hey, heard you loud and clear. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. That is the one, I think that's the one sort of, that's probably the one moment, which is weird because it wasn't like seeing a spirit. Like it was weird.
Oh, man.
It was something. So we left. That would be what about you? Have you?
I have never, no, I haven't seen anything. I've heard a lot of stories. Everybody tells me stories, but I've never really seen anything. I've never really had any kind of like moments, but maybe I had like probably sensations or something like that. Like I remember, it's not exactly something I've seen, but it's like I remember my grandmother died, and then a few days later, I had a dream where somebody had an accident, and I was in the hospital, and I was looking through the door, window, whatever, and that person who had an accident, there was a lady sitting right next to it. I think his grandmother or whatever, and just all of a sudden turned her face and gave a big smile and started coming towards me. And I was like awake by that time, even though I'm looking at the dream. I woke myself up to, and that's the only thing closest to something supernatural. Or whatever.
You think it was might have been like your grandmother, like some kind of spirit, like reaching out and just saying, "Hey, I believe in that shit." When my father died, my wife for about a week, like once or twice, she could have swore she heard him giggling in the backseat. Which is but my dad was he was a prankster, and like it was not like a bad thing. Mm-hmm. It was just sort of like my dad was probably, I would say sort of very Johnny Cage-ish in the fact that he could say things and you'd be like, wow, and he got away with it. I'm like, I don't know how you got away with doing that stuff. Yeah. But that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, it probably was your grandma. But, again, like that's the thing. You're like, I want to lean in, but nah.
Yeah, exactly.
I got to bounce on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to bounce on that.
I want to know your song too and your movie. We didn't get to that. That'll be on the next one. And I just flip the positions, and I'm gonna ask all the questions.
Yeah, that'd be something else. I'd be like the most boring interview of all time. So that's gonna be that.
No.
Well, I just want to say that thank you so much for taking the time for talking to me about Johnny and Mortal Kombat and Ghosts. So this is really fun. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Again, Abby, thank you for having me and forgiving me for my my failure the last week. I just tell your audience, we were supposed to do this a week ago, and I had some come up family wise, and I couldn't make it, but I didn't have enough time within the situation to call, so it's kind of like I was being a dick. So I wasn't being a dick. So I'm glad that we finally did this because this was awesome. So thank you for having me. And I think it's like midnight now or later where you are.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
Your night's just about to begin.
Oh.
Have a good one.